Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Chuempala. These are very few privileges that we have of coming actually in the morning in Zambia. Today, I want to deal with just one issue this morning, and it is the DPP's letter to the DEC. The DPP's letter to the DEC. We have seen the letter. As a matter of fact, the diggers yesterday. So now imagine we are still on Tuesday here in Calgary, Alberta, almost midnight. But in Zambia, it was yesterday. So in yesterday's Diggers newspaper, you saw the quotation that the Diggers did of the purported letter from the Director of Public Prosecution. And today I was I was in court. And so I couldn't have the privilege to come live to answer these questions, but we had the Jones Kasonso show. That is the one-on-one with Dr. Jones Kasonso. And it was a pre-arranged program that already had a topic. And so we couldn't impose a new topic on it. And the Kasonso show, the one-on-one with Dr. Jones Kasonso, dealt with using digital innovation in healthcare and things like that. So it was a beautiful show. Please consult it and go back to it and listen to it. But this morning, because I have another commitment on Tuesday, and so I may not make it, and so I wanted to come early this morning so that we can talk about this, all right? The song that I was playing is known as that's the song. It is by Chilu Music. Now, Chilu Music, the gentleman is known as Ruben Chilufya. I don't know him, but I've been very blessed by his music. And so they have a concert, I think, coming up in May, 21st May or something like that. Check them out. Very, very nice music. I like it. My wife has been listening to this music for years. Now, I just got to clue into the music now. And so it's quite nice. And I like the beat. I like the traditional flavor because I'm a Kalindula guy. I'm a Kalindula guy. So I like that music, all right? And then this is Frank Saliki's book. It's known as Arise and Shine. Frank Saliki of TVBAKWETU. This is his book. Check it out on Amazon for those that care to do that. That's Frank Saliki. Now to the DPP. The question that is being asked now, I need to draw the story back. The Director of Public Prosecution is a constitutional office. All right. It's a constitutional office in the sense that it is an office that is responsible for public prosecutions in our country. Now, both the Constitution and several pieces of our legislation, they do give criminal prosecution power in several other entities apart from the DPP, but the DPP has overriding power from the Constitution to prosecute criminal matters. Even cases that are prosecuted privately, the DPP still has authority over them. Cases that are specific to one of the agencies, be it the SEC or the DEC, the Director of Public Prosecution has overriding power, and that is very important. For the Director of Public Prosecution to have those powers, they are very necessary for the subsistence of our democracy and for the integrity of our institutions. One of the things that the Constitution has done is that it has added certain language. Now, I don't like boring you with a lot of specifics. It says that in exercising their duty, the Director of Public Prosecution is not subject to anybody. And so they're not subject to anybody. And in fact, the law continues to say that if they entered a nolle prosecute, that nolle prosecute cannot be questioned by anybody. It cannot be questioned. And so the Director of Public Prosecution can just decide, okay, I'm going to enter a nolle and stuff like that. Now, there are no easy answers to the things that we are going to talk about today. They're never easy answers, but we've got to have some kind of a conversation together as a nation. We've got to have a conversation about how our systems are working, or not working. We as citizens must have a conversation. And we shouldn't discourage one another from having these conversations. And there are several things that concern me. The letter that is purportedly written by the Director of Public Prosecution to the Director of Drug Enforcement Commission is hugely concerning. Very huge concern. It's a concern in the sense that the DPP, out of transparency, should explain to the people of Zambia what informed her decision to write a letter to the Director of Director of Drug Enforcement Commission in the spirit of transparency. Now, we know the Constitution says that she can do whatever she wants to do, but because of the controversy that this matter is raising, she must transparently let the nation know exactly what is going on. Now, even where the Constitution says that she is not answerable to anybody, but ultimately, every lever of the institution of our country is answerable to the people of Zambia. So she cannot hide behind the fact that she owes nobody an explanation. If we can hold the president of our nation and commander-in-chief of the armed forces to account, we as citizens can hold any constitutional holder to account to explain to us what is going on. All right? And so it is in the interest of transparency, it is in the interest of the rule of law that we as citizens deserve an explanation. Why did she write a letter to the Drug Enforcement Commission? We as citizens deserve an answer. A very straightforward answer. We are not going to dilly-dally on this point. We just need a little bit of an explanation. It must not be detailed, but it must be sufficient to allay the fears of the people in our country. All right? Now, the letter is first of all, that purported letter could be unconstitutional. Now, let me explain a little bit about what happens. Under our laws, when we say law enforcement, we really mean Vakapokola. Okay? Omba. Vakapokola are the general police powers. What we call general police powers, general law enforcement powers. Ya Vakapokola. Vakapokola. Whatever other specialized law enforcement agencies like the DEC and the SEC. The whole reason why we have all these specialized agencies is so that they can have the specialization and the resources to deal with specific issues. For example, Drug Enforcement Commission, they deal with money laundering, drugs, and several other crimes that are very, very specialized. That's why we have Nivaka Pokola. So in simple terms, except that Vuka Pokola were very specific to what legislation has given them. But FIC, they are not law enforcement at all. But FIC, it's a financial intelligence center. Police powers. All right? So, Tuakwata, Vakapokola, the DEC, and the SEC. These are the principal law enforcement agencies we have in Zambia. They have the authority to investigate cases. All right? And so, so when they investigate, Babula docket, Batwadilama prosecutors. Elwama prosecutors, they review the docket. Elwama prosecutors decide whether they are going to do what, to prosecute or not. That's the procedure, okay? They decide whether they are going to prosecute. And there are several reasons why prosecutors must prosecute. Some of the reasons are public interest, meaning abantu. Again, we need to get it very clear. Sometimes it's just public interest. Sometimes I'm a prosecutors, because the public is interested in a matter, you know, and by public, I mean the political public. They are interested in the matter. Ama prosecutors valesha bachitwala kuli judges and see. And what is the reason? Public interest. The other reasons are they have the likelihood of conviction. They have their own ways of deciding which case they are going to prosecute and stuff like that. But abachita investigate baripsana. Tema prosecutors iyo nibakapokola or abantu abakwata amaka yabo kapokola. There are several others. Nomba ndumbwire kufe batatu. Bakapokola, ba DEC na ba ACC. Bakakwata amaka yabo kapokola. All right. So those are the people who investigate a case. After bachita investigate case, elo batwali the docket ama prosecutors. Ama prosecutors teve kata ama criminals. Yo, that is not their job. Their job is to go and prosecute. By prosecuting, what we mean is that vena eva lawyer bachalo ama prosecutors. Ain. So, bakapokola eve kata bakulonga mchifungo bakuchita na charge. After bakuchita charge, bavula docket batwalira ma prosecutors. Elo ma prosecutors ngabaya kuli judge. They bakapokola as witnesses. So bakapokola now, the same people who investigate crimes, arrest people, they become witnesses when a prosecutor takes the matter before a judge. That is basically what happens. Nomba. Mlando wakuba prosecutor ni lawyer. Ain, nomba, kwali bama prosecutors, abo, that are not lawyers. But therefore, if you kubumfia hii language pako wat mumfwa, ain. Ubuteko bwali peru ensambu, uwa kusonta anyone that they want to prosecute their case. And they cannot be limited by just restricting to lawyers so properly called. Ain, because ngamwachita restrict ubuteko nishe tubuteke yo kanshu buteko bwali pelu ensambu ulwa kusonta all any person they want to be a prosecutor, any person they want. They can gazette NAPSA, they can gazette no muntu ule ipitira fe baba samuchita gazette that you are a prosecutor. Aba prosecutor. But aba lechita investigate, they are separate bakapokola. Ain, elo nomba ma prosecutors eva lawyer babuteko. Ailo baita bakapokola to be witnesses. All right? Before a judge. Nomba Constitution ya dipele ensambo DPP, Director of Public Prosecution, but ingale fuaya kutaya chita enter what is known as a nolle prosecute. The problem is that nolle prosecute, according to current law in Zambia, takwa woku muchita question, nangma muchita question, tafuira pela na reason, kula ndafiati, I've entered a nolle. And we have a long history of nolles in our country. Long history of nolles that DPPs have been entering. Quite all right. That's okay. Nomba, let's go specifically to the issue of Miringo Lungu. This is a very political issue, and we cannot say, okay, but it's just a matter of legal. It's not. This is the story of the Miringo Lungu issue. This is what happened. Lungu, abale teke chalo 8 months ago, abali bakateka. Badi Vula, a company known as KCM, Konkola Copper Mines. Elo Balungu Vaishide Bepe Chalo. In other words, Balungu lied to the people of Zambia. Okwebati, he has, the government of Zambia has repossessed KCM. That's what he told us. As a matter of fact, even when he was campaigning, he was saying, Okwebati, na bapokolola KCM, vapelo buteko, wali bufi. I want us to be very clear. Balungu bali vepe chaloko bat KCM vapokolola yabayabuteko. It was not true. What Balungu did in actual fact was bali vula KCM elo vapelo munabo miringo lungu. That's what he did. He took KCM and gave it to his friend. Now, if in the land of Epoko simple, it was not as simple as that. But ZCCM Investment Holdings to elect a liquidator. Elo baya ku court. Elo nomba court yampela Miringo Lungu to become a liquidator. In actual fact, what happened was that Miringo Lungu became the owner. Ewa liumwini ewa KCM. Achita fire fiance fere chitika atampo kukontolo la KCM. Nishapo nabatubepa ife nabatushinga bato ko bati buteko busendere kanshite buteko yo nimiringo lungu asendere. Now, we as the people of Zambia have a duty ukumfwa bwino bwino chadi shani ilyo miringo lungu asendere ilya company. What happened? We are interested. Ilyo ba lungu ba pelo mnabo miringo lungu KCM. What happened to it? Ulupia luacha, ulupia luenu. What happened to it? As the people of Zambia. This is a political question. It is simple. Now, the DEC and the SEC, they've investigated this case, and after investigating, they have arrested Miringo Lungu, and some of the testimonies yakwebati atimpf shale pita shakobati shafuma kuli KCM shaingira in bank accounts that were controlled by Abena Miringo Lungu. They make interest out of that money, and then they take the money back to KCM. Now, that is not surprising because that was the pattern under the PF Lungu's government. It was a government of thieves and mafias. Are we surprised? No, we are not. Wa imo mwebe na Zambia nga chinshimwa bafumishepo ba Lungu tebungo mwalaba ni mwe ba Lungu ni mwebe na Zambia mwabafumishepo pamupando umulandu wa bungo bwalengele nemingala tweshishine shako bati babula company bami bepati bami bwese sha Zambia bapelo omunabo elo omunabo ambo kuchita misuse in pia sha chalo for his own personal benefit. So badisi na bachita investigate the case elo abeni bachita determine ukoba they are going to charge him. They charged him. As the testimony is being reviewed in court, the director of public prosecution decided to enter a nolle prosequi. Now, that nolle is not subject to any explanation. She can do whatever she wants. But we as citizens are very much interested in what happened at KCM. We are. Okay. I do believe, now I have addressed these matters before you, that stealing a chicken nangui chibata is very easy. Umuntu ngaive chibata kulaba, it's very easy. That's why mumwena ama magistrate tabako kola. Kenguyu aive chibata. Elo na uchumana no uchumone chibata te wibire. Elo wachireta tuyali ive chibata. It's very easy. But cases of theft of this nature, they are complicated. I've been very honest with you. The criminal prosecution of these cases is tough. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of know-how, and it's a complicated maze of connections. Involved. Involved. It's complicated. I agree. And so maybe a director of public prosecution might, in the interest of ichalo, enter nole every chala sevana, something like that. Nangu evidence. It's okay. You can enter a nole. Now, I'm much more concerned at the behavior after she enters the nole. That is where my concern is. Now, inene lawyer wabasungu, ayama funde, ayaba kuzambia, mafunde yesu fuevo basungu, mafunde yesu, fue ma lawyers babasungu. Model legislation, it's the guide, ama public prosecutors, ama DEC, SEC, these are our laws. Nifotu wapangira ayama funde. Fiesu. So, difficulties with prosecuting criminals of this nature. It's all over the world. Nama Americans, that's why they've come up with lesser burdens to prove when it comes to prosecuting if you financial crimes. You know, even rules of evidence relax panono. Pantu ulupia tolo wangechi batefa kovati. You can touch it, you can see it, you can kick it, you can even hear ngachirechi bata. No, finance, they're tough. So you've got to introduce electronic ways of testifying and everything else. That is what has happened. So now this is where the issue is. So it is understandable, maybe even DEC does its investigation it becomes too complicated. So nama prosecutors just to enole pantu we are not likely to convict. Now, is it true that a court might not convict a thief? Yes. It's very possible. And can a DPP maybe enter in Ole because of that? Yes, maybe we are just going to waste our time. Go and concentrate on something else. Or the DPP might enter in Ole and say, go and do a little bit more investigation. It gives me a chance to say, pokola kabien muchteko aka takadi tight. Go and deal with it, mukabweshe, or something like that. But anyway, she enters an Ole, but the DEC still insists. So the DPP enters an Ole, but the DEC still believe in their case. Ama investigators, Baba DC, they still believe in their case. So they rearrest him. Elo nomba kuafuma ileta from the DPP now to the DEC. Uwafya wakwebati, the proper coordination. Now, even if these offices should be independent of each other, but okula chitako communicate panono, you know, in the sense that okula, okay, if this case to investigate, what are the gaps? My prosecutors law enforcement gap monani. I think if we took it before a judge might not convict. So are you able to tighten a little screw here? Okay, I'll enter an Ole. You go and deal with that. Mukambwezeshe. There's supposed to be some form of a dialogue. Hello. If, for example, there is a Nole prosecutor and the investigators really believe in their case, prosecutors this is a clear case. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead, Vanena imwe. If you take now, okukutintana between my investigators and my prosecutors, it's not healthy for the fight against corruption. It's not. But much more concerning is this letter balembele but DPP. It's extremely concerning because number of DPP vaipanga kona kalimo, they can then control the DEC. No kubeba tinena alichta enter nole kanshi iwo alufianye pantu you've entered into my role as DPP, and because of that I require an explanation from you. No. So now, how do we resolve this lack of coordination? You know, how are we going to resolve it? What are the suggestions that we've got to put on the table to resolve this coordination? DPP, of course, you as the people of Zambia, you have the persevere but you have no confidence in her. You can do that. The people of Zambia can still say they have no confidence in her. Like us, like I should say right now. The letter that she has written makes me lose confidence in her ability to discharge the office of the DPP. Now, it's complicated to remove her, but we need to be clear that no, that letter is corrupt. It's a corrupt letter. It's tainted. But if there are issues that implicate national security, when prosecuting Miringo Lungu, let them tell us. Tulabeko, tuishibeka ide. If Miringo Lungu is such a big criminal fish that he cannot be accountable, let them just say it. We are going to understand it. So that we concentrate on other little fishes that but this idea that the DPP is just going to say intimidate the DEC with an ole, why didn't you come back to me? No. Obviously, there's lack of coordination. So what are the suggestions that need to happen? Number one, the DPP maybe need to step aside because maybe she has no confidence in the investigations of the DEC or the SEC. Maybe she has no confidence that they're going to do a good job. So maybe she needs to step aside to allow for somebody else to come in. I don't know. She needs to explain to the people of Zambia, not details, but the general idea, because the people of Zambia want to know. We are interested in the fight against corruption because we are the ones who changed government. It's not it's not the new dawn that changed government. It's the people of Zambia that brought the new dawn in order to fight corruption. It is our baby. And so if she is facing some challenges in the fight against corruption, she needs to tell us a little bit. Not details, but a little bit, so that we can then defend her. The other thing is, maybe we need to take the Mwanawasa approach, learn from the Mwanawasa approach. The Mwanawasa approach was to create what was known as the task force on corruption. The advantage with the task force on corruption is that at least you have a streamlined a reporting structure. Now, it had its own issues. It had its own issues where prosecutors also became investigators. That marred things a little bit. But maybe have that kind of arrangement, but where you create some distinctions between prosecutors and investigators, so that it's only when they coordinate that they take a matter to prosecution. Maybe having so many centers of power in investigation might be a problem, particularly coordinating Abama law enforcement agencies and the prosecutors, you know? Or maybe it's just a power struggle. I want to like the SEC idea. It looks good. You have a very powerful chair of the SEC, and you also have a very powerful director general. It feels good, right? But it might create two centers of influence and therefore affect proper coordination of law enforcement. Maybe somebody who needs to be a chair is somebody who is much more interested in coordinating things, not doing things, right? Maybe that is likely to be helpful. Mwanawasa's creation of a chair, Mark Chona. Was it Mark Chona? What was that Chona man? Who much more is like a coordinator of things, an overseer of things, but not really the doer. He's not the legs of the issues, and he's not interested in doing that. He's much more interested in keeping an organization together. Maybe that would be an appropriate thing. But the thing is, we as the people of Zambia remain the custodians of the fight against corruption, and we do not like what we are seeing today from the DPP. And I've already said it, that I do personally believe that if the DPP has problems with prosecuting Milingo, and those problems are so big that she's not assured of a conviction, then let her tell us a little bit. If it means those bank accounts will lead us to a non-tembo, let her try to nudge us in that direction. We are going to relent, because the fight against corruption has legal components. It has also got political components. Law enforcement agencies cannot deal with the political issues. The political issues can only be dealt by politicians and the people of Zambia. If somebody who has immunity is implicated in this corruption, that is not a law enforcement problem. It is a political problem that has got to be resolved by the politicians and the people. But there's got to be some idea that the people are given by the law enforcement Ukwebati when we are trying to move and look at the bank accounts for Miringo Lungu. It is leading us to another Lungu. And this other Lungu has immunity, and because of that, we might not be able to do very well, a good job. We are okay. Let's understand it. Let's get that. Right? So, should she resign? Maybe first of all, let us start with she should, first of all, talk to us. And if that does not work, then she should resign and allow somebody else to take over, because there is this accusation that she has a soft spot for these people. That's just political reality. Does she have a soft spot for them? If she does, then that might be a problem. Anyway, let me look at some. I'm not going to answer all the comments, but let me look at some of the comments. Council, does DPP also preside over arrests? No, she doesn't. But there's got to be a conversation, a coordination between our prosecutors and the people that are investigating. Ekuteka, but nudging each other. Our prosecutors baro shapari docket veve de novane. Apa akaka element akatamukachire satisfied, she is satisfied. Go back so that when I bring you as witnesses, namkwata a very strong case, right? Because in my investigators, you're going to be witnesses. Our prosecutors are not witnesses. Our prosecutors never a lawyer abalech the lead in umlando. For example, Miringo Lungu, I'm a bank accounts hire. Investigator from DEC aka taking a stand on the stand. Elonumber prosecutor is the one now who leads what is known as evidence in chief. Now, prosecutor kutasanga kokoba tirimbi kuliko ka issue akashidi good. And the constitution does that for very good reasons. A nolle prosecute. Here, of course, in Canada, we've stopped using that language of nolle prosecute. If it ichisungu, tuadireka. To go a very simple language, a stay. A stay of proceedings, it's a stay. The prosecutors have entered what is known as a stay. That's it. The very complicated English at nolle prosecute. But fimofine. And so there's got to be that conversation. The other thing is, when we review the Constitution, we must deal with these questions and say, what is it about this? Should we continue having a DPP who cannot be questioned at all? This is where now Mtembo Nshito went and entered a nolle prosecute in his own case. So he's accused of committing a crime. Elo aya ingisha nolle prosecute in his own case. And he says, Constitution has allowed me to do it. All right? And judges were like, oh, fine. What are we going to do? Every Constitution will go to watch this. So go ahead and do it. Now, the question is that what really the Constitution wanted to see? If the DPP is accused of a crime, the DPP can actually enter a nolle prosecute in their own case? What about Ngamwana wabo? Uli nangu nibululu wabo, nangu munabo? Can the DPP do that without judicial accountability? Without judicial accountability? Those are some of the things that we need to see. The letter that was written, apparently leaked, we've seen it, is that it is copied to the Attorney General of our country. An Attorney General is like the lawyer for the country, the lawyer for the country. And so everything legal goes through him. And so the Director of Public Prosecution has copied the Attorney General on that letter. Anyway, we've Mr. Munshya, this PF cadre. Now, calling a person a PF cadre is unfair. I think she's not a PF cadre. I think what we need to say is that we, as the people of Zambia, we are the ones who removed the PF because they were corrupt. And because of that, we want all the institutions in our country to account to us about what they are doing about it. We played our part as citizens because we saw the corruption that was going on. Lungu the company we saw it. And we said, it's unacceptable to do that. We did it. And we voted them out because they were thieves. Now, after we remove the thieves, we expect all these institutions to follow suit. Otherwise, we take it in our own hands. That's anarchy. We, the people of Zambia, operate through all these constitutional constitution offices. Zambia, they are ours. They belong to the people of Zambia. They don't belong to the people who hold them. Every constitutional office holder is just a trustee of the power that we, the people of Zambia, have given them. So no. Ati pantu nalikwate amakaya kaikama nole nomba kwamba ama none kwamba none uyu none. No. Every constitutional office holder in our country is accountable to the people of Zambia. That is what it means. This is our country. 18 million of us. And so, if we change a government because of theft and corruption, we expect that every institution in our country is going to follow up on that promise to prosecute these thieves. But if you are facing too much challenges, tell us. Okay, now that's the criminal route. The other alternative that I've suggested is, let's take the civil forfeiture and confiscate property from these thieves. It's simpler, it's faster, it's internationally recognized. Of course, you can arrest a person, throw them in jail, but alternatively, as you are working on that, you can confiscate whatever they stole from the people of Zambia. And in fact, if can't you see hundreds of cars abandoned? So the government can collect some of that. Council, perhaps the problem is that the officers' DP has historically been considered quasi-political because of the method of appointment. Of course, it could be political because of the mode of appointment, but is that what is happening here, right? Are we just going to conclude that because they were appointed by the previous government, therefore they are PF cadres? I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to say that she's a PF cadre. What I would like to say is that we, the people of Zambia, deserve an explanation, simple explanation as to what is going on. We started this thing. It was started by the people of Zambia. Vena Zambia bafumishepo ba Lungu na ba PF mlandu wawu ngo. Avena Zambia vale ipusho kwebati babe accountability. If we don't hold Miringo Lungu accountable, nishno kesa po winake ba. Ichango kefyo. Mwebo mule monati ba new donte tiveve. If mulemona, if the reason why we, the people of Zambia, want total accountability, the total accountability and total responsibility, it is we, the people of Zambia, that are demanding it. It is we that started this story, and we, the people of Zambia, are going to finish it. If we excuse the kind of rot and theft that took place in the PF, the UPND is going to repeat it times 100. And Johnson Dalanda Pokova tukuiva kwa PF kwa bufontini. Vale iva no bufontini, you know? Uwabufi. Mwabe pati kesi ye mtu apokolola kashi mwapelo mnene. Bufontini. Mwaiva ama side chicks. Imiotoka. Ama cadres impia balenda na show mabot. If UPND were to steal, you won't even nama side chicks babo tamwaveshi banokuveshi babamuchinshi. Tamwaveshi. Imiotoka vensha simple. Nensapato bafuala simple. Tamwaka shimone nokushimona. They will steal. They can steal. The reason why we want to hold the previous government accountable is so that these atrocities are not repeated for the future of our country. Not for our own personal futures. For what? We are only minute little pieces who can expire at any time. Mwafwa. We are very small pieces. It has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the future of our country, because unless we take care of corruption, we are doomed. And theft of public resources, we are gone. There will be no country. Abama Chinese tu ya komuku Kongola every day. I'm a Chinese. Now, I'm not suggesting what the Chinese did. You know what the Chinese did? Death sentence for corruption. Ku China, if you have a project, Molecular Dam, elo nombo muntu waiba, they kill. Ababe nama Chinese. Omuntu atari kwataka company kachita bid nika company kakwe, mayor achita bid ka company kakwe, minister achita bid ka company kakwe, you are dead. Economies in Africa are bleeding from theft. We don't have a resources problem in Africa. We have leakages. If you leakages, economic leakages. Once we take care of economic leakages, it will be very easy to use our resources for the development of our people and our nations. Angola, billions by the president, former president of Angola, in Zambia, that's exactly what happened. Now, we want to use some flowery language. Sure, it was corruption, it was what? That's the language we need to use. It's a theft. That's exactly what happened. Are we, as the people of Zambia, going to say that we mean business about corruption or not? It's simple. Are we going to hold each and every leader in our nation to accountability? Are we or no? Are we serious about it? Because sometimes it can get discouraging. Reconciliation. Again, if you use the tool of reconciliation over theft, the UPND will also steal. As a matter of fact, in reconciliation. New dawn. Nisangwapo. Na imwenga bamifumiapo after 10 years. Ati Munshya na nkwateke. Nga bamifumiapo. Na noyo inakesa po bakala ndatishani. Ati na only reconciliation. So how can you build a nation on that basis of theft? How can you do that? How can the people of Zambia excuse it and say it's okay? No. The people of Zambia are not going to let this continue. They are not going to tolerate it. Account for what happened. Explain to us what happened. Bring back the loot. And if we have enough evidence to convict you, let us convict you. That institutions of our country are not going to be used to sabotage the fight against corruption, which is the fight by the people of Zambia. It is our fight. God bless you, and God bless our country. Thank you.